And what it points to is it was real visionary thinking on the part of the government. Because Sterkfontein used to be a tiny little cafe run by Rotary. And now it is one of the biggest, Sterkfontein and Maropeng together are one of the biggest tourism sites in the country. And that in the space of 15 years. Whereas when we started building this place, there were 47 tourism operations throughout the Cradle of Humankind area, which is 53,000 hectares. Today there are over 400. Yeah. An absolutely incredible achievement, and for very little money. It cost, we built this place, including the roads that take you, because everything was sand road at that time. Including the roads, we built this place and Sterkfontein for a mere 360 million rand. And so putting in that amount of infrastructure money meant that we've now got a place which brings employment into what was one of the poorest areas of Gauteng. Now, we are here tonight. This is Hominin House. In Hominin House, we host lots and lots of learners who come from all over the country and even beyond the country, other countries in Africa. I think the furthest we've had, Janine, was in Nigeria, and they are threatening to come back.
Very well behaved.
It really is one of the key places in the Maropeng story, because this is where we introduce the youth of the country into deep history, deep time, deep history. And this is a history which does not divide us. It is a history which unites us. Because you can't call yourself human without thinking about this place. Because this is the place where the human species evolved from, or at least there is the best evidence of that. And of course what we always say, and we say this to whoever comes here, Africa, not Sterkfontein, is the cradle of humankind. It's the whole of Africa that we have to celebrate. And as Lindsay was quoting Professor Tobias earlier on, Professor Tobias said, Africa gave the world humanity. That is no small thing. So we are here to celebrate, and to celebrate our common human ancestry. It is a story that every child in every school needs to be told and to understand. And so that is what this place called Hominin House is about. We can take 120 students, we can take 6 educators, and we love the fact that we have this fire pit where people can sit around and celebrate and talk and tell stories. Now, Janine whispered in my ear beforehand. She said she wasn't supposed to tell me, but she's terribly loyal to me, is our Janine. So she told me, I'm just telling you, they wanted you to tell a story beforehand. Now, a strange thing happened yesterday. There was an owl sitting in a tree where I live in the middle of the day, and all the other birds were going hysterical and wanting to chase this owl away. And it reminded me of a story that I heard maybe 200 years ago when I was in university. It was a story that was written originally by a person called James Thurber, and it stuck with me through the years. And I sort of wrote it up, bits of it from memory, and I added bits that I liked and took out bits that I didn't like, and I've rejigged it, and I've used it on a number of occasions. But let me start like all good stories do start. Are you ready, children? Are you all comfortable? Once upon a time. Once upon a time, all the animals of the forest gathered together to elect a leader for themselves. They were all in a very excited state, and the forest resounded with the cries and twitterings of animals and birds engaged in very important business. Said the secretary bird, in a very important kind of way, because he was very pleased because he was asked not only to be the secretary but also the chairperson. The chairbird. Shall we begin? He asked. The animals all agreed that they should begin, and the giraffe, being the tallest, began to make something of a speech, thanking the secretary bird for being both chairbird and secretary bird at the same time, and being willing to lead them in this very important business. And And although the secretary bird would have liked the accolade and praise to go on a bit longer, he realized that they had to actually get down to business. Well, said the secretary bird, any proposals? There was a very definite silence in the forest. Then there was a buzzing noise from one of the bees. And then there was silence once again. In fact, the silence was becoming embarrassing. Excuse me, said the jackal. By all means, said the secretary bird, a little suspiciously. I propose the owl, said the jackal. Well, with that, all the animals of the forest went into a complete tizwaz. The owl? Why all the herd got the owl? Why would you want to elect the owl the leader? Because, said the jackal, restoring a little order, because he can see in the dark and he can answer any question. The animals thought about this for a while. We would need to put this to the test, of course, said the lizard. And I'll second the proposal. That done, all the animals of the forest gathered around the largest oak tree, where the owl was standing above them with large, glowing eyes. How many fingers am I holding up? Asked the secretary bird. 2, said the owl. Why does a lover call on his love? Asked the secretary bird. To woo, said the owl. What's the name of a very famous Anglican archbishop? And what is another word for that is to say, or namely? Asked the secretary bird. To wit, said the owl. The animals were most impressed. It was very dark, and it was quite clear that, and it was quite impossible to see at any kind of a distance, but the owl really did seem to be able to see in the dark and answer any questions that had been put to him. Can he see in the daytime too? Asked a little dove, very timidly. The animals all laughed at this suggestion, this ridiculous suggestion, and they said, of course he can see in the daytime. Of course he can see in the daytime, shouted the elephant. Of course he can, they all shouted. All the animals agreed. The next day, all the animals were marching behind their newly elected leader. The owl, puffed up with great importance, stared around him with large, unseeing eyes. To wit, he said periodically. To woo, came the response. The owl began to start up a highway. And when he bumped into things, all the animals bumped into things as well. Everyone was happy at how clever of them to have elected such a wonderful leader who could answer any questions and could see in the dark. They couldn't find enough words to describe the owl's virtues. And as the animals were walking up the highway and bumping into things that the owl bumped into, a hawk flew above them, shrieking loudly, "There's danger ahead! Something's coming along really fast!" To wit, said the owl. It's a truck traveling at 160 kilometers an hour and you're all in its way. Who? Said the owl, seeing nothing. And then the truck came along and ran over all of the animals, and they lay in the road quite dead. What's the moral of that story? If you can't see in the daytime or heed the voice of foresight, don't lead the people up the highway. Thank you very much.